Hey guys, all right. Today we're I'm gonna prune a spirea, the like the Anthony Waterer or the Goldflame spireas that are gonna bloom sort of late spring. They can be pruned now to get the old growth out and the really wispy stuff, and not to be confused with like a bridal wreath spirea. That are spring blooming, and if you prune those now, you'll take all the blooms off. So let me get set up here, and we will get started with the first few cuts of the shrub. Okay, so here we are. We're looking at the pretty overgrown shrub, and what we're going to start with is only taking out, I like to start with taking out all the smallest stuff. So we're looking for anything that's smaller than a pencil as a general rule. On a younger bush, you might leave stuff that's still a little bit maybe thinner than a pencil, but you definitely want to get rid of all of this wispy stuff. So we're just going to start going in, and if you're clearing out the leaves as you go, and if you accidentally take something out that is a little bigger or you want it to keep, it's not really a big deal. We're going to be reducing this by a substantial amount. And we're going to start taking other of the bigger stuff out once we clear this little stuff out. So if you do happen to take something out, it's not a big deal. You just keep going. We're going to be going down probably to about anywhere from kind of 5 to maybe 15 stems when we're done on a bigger shrub here. So we fast forwarded a little bit here to get all of the old wispy stuff out. The other thing that's important to note is when you're going in and you're cutting these out, especially on an older one, if stuff's been cut before, you want to make sure you get old stuff that wasn't cut all the way to the ground, cut a little bit lower as well, just to clean up, some of the old dead. And that's something too. If there is anything that is clearly dead while you're cutting out the small stuff, you cut that out as well. So as we can see here now, I'll try to get a little bit closer in here. We've really taken out a lot already of material. So our next step is, and clearing out the small stuff is really by far the most time consuming. So our next step is going to be to take out anything that is crossing, and especially crossing from the middle and coming out to the outside, because we want all the growth of the shrub to be kind of on the outside, the leafing out. We want the flowers to be around on the top and on the outside. It doesn't really help us to see any flower. We won't see the flowers if they're in the middle of the shrub. So next step we're going to do is take anything that's coming from the middle and heading towards out, or that's crossing other branches. Again, you'll find a few little wispy things like that you want to take out as well. And you just kind of keep trimming. So, the other thing to do while you're doing crossing stuff is you want to make sure each stem has 2 fingers together like that of space between them. So we want to, make sure we have that between them. So anything that's too closer than that, we're going to take out. And we'll often take out either the smaller, thinner stuff, or if you can see this one here, last year it had a bunch of branching that came off, so it's got lots of little wispy stuff. So we'll take that out in favor of something that's just grew as one solid stem that we can get a nice bud on the side. So we'll continue. This part goes a little faster than taking out the wispy stuff. So I'll just quickly do this, take everything out, make sure we have that, 2-finger space. And if it's a little tight, it's not the end of the world, especially if you're getting short on larger stems. So now that we've got this, now what we want to do is we want to reduce the height. And we're going to leave things a little bit taller in the middle and shorter as we come to the edge. And that's going to give us that round shape of growth. So we're just going to start, and we just want to make sure we don't have any sort of 2 cuts, especially side by side, that are the same height. And you don't want to leave things too long. So if it doesn't work, you just maybe take another one out. Other thing to try and do where you can is make sure you're cutting to a bud that is on the outside of the stem. So when it grows, it's going to grow outward, and that's going to give us that foliage and that flowering on the outside of the shrub, which is a lot more beneficial for the aesthetics. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If you've got some on the outside that are a little bit longer than the ones in the middle, it's not the end of the world, but you do definitely want to have that sort of height difference here. So, you know, you want to have two that are clearly not the same. Even if they might, you know, a half an inch taller, it's going to look like they're the same height. So you're going to then just keep going, just cutting down, making sure you cut to where there is a bud that's going to leaf out and flower. And these will leaf out pretty quick once we get some good temperatures, and it'll look very thin here, but it will still fully leaf out, fully cover the shrub. Here, see, I've done this. I've got two little too close in size together, so I'm just going to come back in and take that one down. You can't really take too much off. I mean, as a general rule, it's always better to take less. You can always take more off after, but also with the Spiraea, in a worst case scenario, you can cut these right down to the ground, treat them like a perennial, and they'll grow back. They may be a little bit smaller the first year you do that to them, but in a lot of cases where we come across them and they're really overgrown, we will just do that. It's a lot more efficient just to take them right down all the way to the ground and let them grow back, and then we can clean them out. So there we go. That's done. I may look at this and say, okay, some of these are still smaller than a pencil. I left them in case. I'm just going to clean them up. Oh, missed some wispy stuff here. Clean this all up. Gives you a chance to take the leaves out, get any weeds out that are growing in the middle. And yeah, so now we've got some good space. As you can see here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So we've got plenty of stems here. Probably actually just going to go in, and some of the ones that are a little closer to others, I'm going to take them out because we just don't need them. This will also grow a bunch of sprouts right from the middle that'll also fill in and flower and everything. These are a prolific flowerer, so very hardy. Now, you know, typically the rule of thumb with any pruning is you don't take more than 1/3 of the wood away, but there are exceptions, and this Spiraea is one of those exceptions. Dogwood's another one that you can often do it with, the red twig dogwood. You want to be careful with the prettier sort of variegated cultivars of dogwood, but we'll talk about dogwood maybe in another video. So here's just another sort of overview of what it looks like, and then we'll just take a video, a look back, and there you have it. So that's finished. That's pruning a Spiraea in the spring. So there you have it. You can also do it late fall once it's gone dormant. It's fine as well. It'll overwinter no problem in this current state of being pruned. And thanks for watching.